we are looking at one of my favourite topics. It's gaming. And we are looking at what is the greatest ever wrestling game of all time. Each member will bring a game to the table, and it'll be up to you, the lovely Go Home Show podcast audience, to decide whom is the winner. We've been told we've got 45 seconds per person, but you try and stop me when I get in my flow.
I will be stopping you.
E-Dog, I will come to you first. What is the greatest professional wrestling game of all time?
Well, to keep on trend, it is, of course, with AJ Styles on the cover. It is WWE 2K19, mainly because I'm a basic when it comes to wrestling video games. I haven't played a lot of them over the past few years, but mainly also because it was the last era of good wrestling games for a little while, because obviously WWE is currently in its transition period with them having a new studio. I believe it was Ukes who had made the previous 2K games, and they look like they're going to be moving on to maybe making an AEW game or maybe something else. Who knows? I mean, it's worth it alone just for the Daniel Bryan showcase in it. You know, it's such a fun way to go through that journey, and for one of my favourite wrestlers of the past 10 years. I think it's fun. You know, it's a little bit glitchy, it's a little bit silly, but it's a silly, fun time. It has that arcadey feel that all these games have always had. And as I say, AJ Styles is on the cover. And at the time, if you could, I think there was that mode, which I've forgotten the name, where if you completed it, you could then 100% it and then face AJ Styles at the Royal Rumble.
Like a gold one.
Yeah, that was it. That alone makes it the best WWE game, because you could get to meet AJ Styles. I'm sticking with this. Yeah, AJ Styles Scene Podcast.
Long-term booking there from E-Dog, AJ Styles all the way. Move on to Chris Anderson next. What have you gone for, my friend?
My answer is a simple one because it's the correct one. This is SmackDown versus Raw 2006 for one very, very simple reason, which is it had the best iteration of GM mode. The later one, SmackDown vs. Raw vs. ECW 2007-2008, also had GM mode, but they added too many bells and whistles and wrinkles and kinks. This just was the best mode ever to exist in a wrestling game. You got to live out your fantasy booking dreams. Once you figured out the algorithm, you could 100% it every week on week, and you could walk out with whoever you wanted as champion. I think I had Scotty 2 Hotty as heavyweight champion for 52 weeks straight. It's the best. Honestly, if you've not played it, I think it's a PS1 game, maybe a PS2 game, but you can find emulators to play it on, whatever you want to play it on. Check it out. It'll just make you happy playing this game.
Love that. Crush, can you topple
Yeah,
two previous arguments?
So I'm going for SmackDown, Here Comes the Pain. Obviously, Brock Lesnar was the cover athlete. And a lot of people before me have said it's the greatest ever game. The season mode gave you the ability to play your story however you wanted. You could challenge for a singles title. You could choose a partner to go for tag team titles, or you could jump brands to challenge for either title on there. It gave you so much freedom. You didn't have to follow a story, and you could do whatever you wanted, and the replay value was incredible. It's the first time that we saw John Cena, I believe, in a WWE game. Same for Batista, same for Rey Mysterio. First one with Kane without a mask. Also the last time The Rock and Stone Cold featured up until when they were legends in the later games. Yeah, that is my choice.
Love that. Gents, I'm finishing with 2K20. Now, I play wrestling games because I play this story mode, and 2K20 goes back to its roots with the most mental story I've ever played. You start off as like, they embrace independent wrestling. You're a male and a female character. You wrestle Peyton Royce in a icy sort of arcade area, and you wrestle Jerry Lawler in Memphis in an empty arena match. You wrestle a hot dog in one of your dreams as well. And then you get to the main roster, you win the title off Samoa Joe, and then you do all this story, and then 10 years later, I'd forgotten about it playing the game.
I know what's coming here.
Samoa Joe quits. Samoa Joe jumps out of the crowd 10 years later, so what, about 3-4 hour game time later, with a bionic arm in a title match, gives you the what's it called, the Kakita clutch, and taps you out, and he's like the boss man of the game, and you have to face him at WrestleMania. It's mental, it's bonkers. Oh, and then not even that, you're at the Royal Rumble, and it's well hard. I had to do it like 400 times, and I eliminate number 30, and I was like, I've done it, I've won. And then it goes 10, and you're like, what, it's only 30? And it counts down 1. And then the American national anthem plays, and the President of the United States walks out as number 31, and it's The Rock. And you end up fighting at Hall of Fame You fight on the Hall of Fame stage against Becky Lynch, and then one match against the Bionic Arm Samoa. It's absolutely mental, and it's absolutely brilliant.
I mean, you went for a minute there, but I'll allow it just because
That was good for me.
of that amazing Samoa Joe.
It's so underrated. Like, everyone's like, oh, it's glitchy. Oh, just get into it, mate.
I remember when you first told me in the office about it, I was like, shut up, you're lying.
It's
like, nah,
class. But that's what I think. All of those, we'd all agree, though. That's what they should be, because it's a game as well. You don't want, like, simulation of, like, oh, why are you going to do just get on with it. Give everyone a bionic arm. But those are our 4 thoughts. What do you think is the greatest wrestling game of all time? Is there any we've missed? I'm sure there is, so get them in the comments below if you're watching on YouTube. And if you're listening to us, get it to us on Twitter at The Go Home Show